I feel about this story so far. Hello everybody, my name is Kiara, aka Kiaras.bookshelf, and welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. I am so excited to film this week's video because I decided I wanted to do a 24-hour reading vlog. I have been filming a lot of reading vlogs on my channel recently, but I realized I haven't done one of these types of videos in a while, and I wanted to give it a shot again. If you watch my bookshelf tour, then you know that I have a lot of unread books on my TBR right now, and so I figured this will be the best time to get a lot of it done. And so for this video I will be reading 5 books, and I'm really excited for this because these books have been on my TBR forever. I'm really excited for this challenge because I haven't read a lot of thriller books lately, and this is just the perfect time to do that. So if you guys are interested in this video, then please stay tuned because I definitely plan on doing more challenges like this in the future. And so without further ado, let's just get on with the vlog. Okay guys, so I am like an hour into reading this book. I read 74 pages, and I honestly don't know how I feel about this story so far. So the story starts with main character Sam, and he is going to a Halloween party with some of his friends, and I found it interesting that right at the beginning of the story they mentioned that he was a former child star and he hated it. Apparently like his parents made him do it. Specifically his dad was always like pushing him to be in the spotlight, and now that he's not anymore, he feels like his dad is still kind of trying to convince him to go back. And I feel like that is going to come up later because he really hates mentioning it. He said that he used to hate when he got recognized as a kid, and he's kind of happy that it started to die down now, but the fact that his dad just never got over it really irritates him all the time. So he ends up going to a Halloween party with his friends, and at this party they end up going to their backyard to play a game of some sort. I honestly don't know if it would be considered a game or a ritual. I'm not sure, but apparently they do it like every year. They go to like this really sketchy area in a random backyard, and they call it the dark place, and this is where they go to tell their secrets. But when it's the main character's turn to go to this tent and tell his secrets, they end up hearing these really weird banging noises. So that was the first weird occurrence, and now the second one is that he has started to get really weird texts. Apparently the texts are from a woman that was confirmed to be a catfish. So it's a little weird because now it's like, who is catfishing them? So I am going to start reading again, and I will check in with you guys for the next update. Okay guys, so it is later in the day and I finally finished Secrets Never Die, and I will definitely say it took me a lot longer to finish this book than I expected. When I stopped the timer, I had 20 hours, 10 minutes, and 22 seconds left, and I don't know why, but like I'm a little sad about that because I thought I would get this done a lot faster. Now, while I will say the second half of this book was definitely more intense than the first half, I still found myself really confused about what was going on. I really liked the blackmailing aspect of it. I liked the fact that they were literally just so scared to like ask for help, but it actually ended up being really anticlimactic and underwhelming because their parents knew who was blackmailing them the whole time, and it was literally their parents' fault that they were getting blackmailed in the first place. I just found it really weird because the whole time I was wondering, why is this person blackmailing the kid, it just didn't make sense to me. But despite me saying all of this, I will say it wasn't a bad book. I'm actually kind of happy I read this first because this has been on my TBR for so many years and I've been really scared to read it. So even though this is a 24-hour readathon, I'm going to be filming this over the course of days just because I don't have the time to be reading non-stop. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow because I am going to start People to Follow, and I'm really excited for this because I think it has to do with social media influencers and murder, I guess. And I know that sounds really like crazy, but I found that to be really interesting. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow to start the timer again, and I guess we'll just see where the story takes us. Okay, so I just reached chapter 22 of the story and I am loving it so much. I don't know why I like it so much considering I never really was interested in influencer houses in real life, but for some reason reading about it in this type of setting is just like really fun. So there's several influencers in this story, but there are only a few that really stood out to me. My favorite is Kiara. She's like the main character, kind of. Technically they all are, but I feel like it just focuses more on her a lot of times. So all of these influencers were brought on an island to stay at a mansion and they are going to live there. I actually don't know how long they're supposed to live there, but it's like all paid for by sponsors and it's pretty much going to be like a paid vacation for them. And everyone is like really stuck up and just very stereotypical in the sense of like being really social media heavy, being very shallow, not really down to earth at all, except for Kiara. And I think that's interesting because they highlighted that all of the influencers came from money except for her. So there's actually like several red flags on the first day when they get to this house. And the first one is the fact that for some reason the crew wasn't there before they were, so they literally had to stay in this mansion alone. And while they weren't complaining about it, it was just a little weird. If you're filming for a reality show, you expect the crew members to be there already with all the cameras and the microphones and stuff like that. And I will say, when the next day happened, nobody showed up. The plot doesn't actually start that night. It starts the next day when an influencer is found dead. And this was really weird because that night they pretty much were just getting to know each other. Some of them knew each other already, which I thought was kind of interesting, and I wonder if they were picked with that already in mind. But it was just really weird because I think they got in a pool and like they were just joking around, they were like drinking, and you were just really getting the feel of everyone's personalities. And then the next thing you know, one of the guys is found dead. And it was so weird because it seemed like he was pushed off of the balcony, or at least that's how I interpreted it. For some reason, nobody shows up still. Like, there's still no crew members there, and there is like no way for anyone to call for help because for some reason they just weren't given cell service. So now they have to deal with this dead body and like no way of getting help. I'm getting a lot of like Pretty Little Liars A vibes from the crew members here because they are also forced to play a truth or dare game, and if they tell the truth, I guess it's like, okay, your secrets get spilled, but if you choose not to like admit anything, you can get eliminated. The way they put it, it sounded like you will definitely die. And so I am like really interested to see like what is everyone's secrets. I feel like things are slowly unraveling. So I'm gonna check back in with you guys, I think maybe in like 2 more hours. I will say I am loving this author right now. I definitely want to check out Olivia Worley's other books if she has any. So with that, I am gonna check in with you guys in a couple of hours with my next update. Okay guys, so I just finished People to Follow, and I definitely feel like the plot twist got me. I think I'm just really surprised by the fact that it was characters I didn't expect to be capable of the killing that was in this story. I guess I just like underestimated a lot of them, and I feel like the people that I did expect were murderers turned out to be like innocent, and I don't know, I guess I just don't like being wrong when it comes to these types of stories, so I just feel like it's going to take me a while to wrap my head around it. I really liked the fact that no one trusted each other towards the end, and it really hammered in the fact that you really don't know who the killer is. At one point, people needed to do a buddy system because literally whenever someone was alone, you just didn't know what to expect. You never knew who would turn up dead and where, and it was just crazy. So I do like a lot of factors. I just really wish that it was just like other characters that ended up being the ones doing the killing, I guess, because certain characters seemed capable of that and then others didn't, and I just feel like it didn't make sense. So I officially stopped the timer at 15 hours, 50 minutes, and 11 seconds. And I feel like I'm making good time. I don't know. I think I'm not really going to feel as accomplished, and I don't think I'm gonna feel like this challenge is really moving until I at least get to 10 hours. So the next book that I am going to read is The Quiet Unraveling of Eve Ellaway. Now I'm really excited about this because I feel like this has to do with like a murder or a kidnapping, but this is going to be a completely different vibe than People to Follow, and so I'm just really excited for this. I won this book in a giveaway a while ago, and I feel like that just makes my anticipation for this even more exciting, I guess. I also got this really cool art print in it, and there's also a letter that I might show in the video. One of the reasons I'm super intrigued about reading this book is because inside it says, "I've been pretending to be my sister for so long, I don't know how else to live." I really hope that you guys are enjoying this vlog so far, and I'm just super excited to see where this challenge will take me. Okay guys, so it is finally time for another update because I officially finished The Quiet Unraveling of Eve Ellaway, and then I finished Castle of the Cursed. So I'm first going to talk about The Quiet Unraveling of Eve Ellaway. I found the premise of this story to be really interesting because we have main character Eve. Her sister was kidnapped when they were, I believe, 2 years old. It's kind of crazy because her sister was never found and her parents were never the same after that. I felt like the story was really interesting because the way her parents chose to cope with this was extremely unhealthy. As Eve grew up, she pretty much had to live a double life. She had to literally dress up as her sister and pretend to be her sometimes, and it was really weird because her mom, more than her dad, really believed that she was 2 people, and I feel like this was such an interesting way to look at grief and how it can affect people. It was so strange because throughout this story, it kind of seemed like Eve was schizophrenic in a way because she kept imagining her sister's voice in her head, and she would literally have conversations with her. I definitely like the premise of this book, and I feel like a lot of people would be interested in it, but I will say that a huge part of the story that I thought was interesting is that Eve does a school project for her senior year, and they get to pick any topic, and she chooses trafficking. Obviously, she doesn't know what happened to her sister, so it kind of makes sense that her mind would think of the worst things possible. And I thought that would be an interesting, I guess, topic to talk about in the story if it made sense towards the end. But it didn't. Towards the end of the story, she ends up realizing that trafficking really wasn't the case at all. And honestly, I don't even know why it was brought up. Yes, her sister was kidnapped, but it was a completely different way than I imagined it would be. So overall, I feel really indifferent to the story because it wasn't terrible, but I feel like I've just been dragged along the entire time for no reason, I guess. So then, after I finished Eve LOA, I decided I wanted to finally jump into the fantasy portion of my books, and I was really, really excited. So I picked up Castle of the Curse. I was excited for this because it has vampires in it, and I don't usually read books that involve vampires, but I do really, really love them. I loved Castle of the Cursed because it has a really, really creepy gothic vibe to it that is perfect for October, and I kind of wish that I read it then, but it's okay. This book is mainly about vampires, but I really, really like the fact that witches play a huge part in the story as well. So in the story, we have main character Estella, and she is on a train with her parents, and then all of a sudden smoke comes into the train and literally kills everyone except for her, and she's literally made an orphan by the second chapter of this book, and I thought that was really, really interesting. I really liked that it grabbed my attention so fast. So immediately after her parents' death, she is titled an orphan, and she has to go live with an aunt that she had never met before. But the strange thing about this aunt is that she lives in this huge castle, and it's very, very dark and eerie feeling when she first goes in there. She feels as if something is off, but she can't quite put her finger on it. And one night when she is exploring this castle, she comes across what she perceives to be a ghost, but it turns out to be a vampire. I found it really interesting because this vampire does not know why he's in this house, but he knows that he's been trapped for a long time, and he immediately thinks that the main character, Estella, is the one that cursed him and bound him to this house for some reason. I really, really liked the beginning of this book, but I did not understand the ending at all. I feel like a lot of things were thrown at me at once, things that were not included in the beginning portion of this book, so it wasn't really wrapped up well, and that was really disappointing because I went into this loving it. I loved the premise. I felt like it was really original, and it had a lot of Hispanic culture in it as far as food. They even spoke Spanish in this, and I thought that was really, really different, and it just ended up not really making sense towards the end, and I was so sad. I think overall, if I could give these books a rating, I would have to give them 2 stars and 3 stars. And honestly, I'm really, really disappointed because I was just expecting so much more. So far, I would definitely have to say People to Follow is my favorite book that I have read so far for this challenge, but that's why I'm really, really excited to jump into the dangerous ones. I'm going to end this challenge with this book, and I'm excited because this also has vampires in it, but I believe this is going to be a completely different premise, and I'm really intrigued by it. I can't believe that I am literally almost done with this challenge. I am going to just power through it and finish these last 3 hours, and I will check in with you guys when I'm done. Okay guys, so it is the same day as the last clip that I just showed, but I decided I wanted my hair down, so I hope that doesn't look confusing. But I'm here to announce that I have officially completed my second ever 24-hour readathon, and I'm so excited that it's finally over. So I first want to start by saying that I finished the Dangerous Ones, and I was a little conflicted at first by this because I really liked the premise of the vampires, but I feel like the main character really killed the experience for me. The main character, Jerusalem, is supposed to be 18, but I found that she acted 15 at times, and it was really weird how like immature she was. She was always insulting people. She always felt like she knew what was best and that she could just go out and start fighting people and she would automatically win without any experience. So things like that really distracted me from enjoying the plot, and it was really sad because I really wanted to like this book. I think it really sucked because it was really obvious that the human and the vampire in this book were supposed to be a team, but I found myself rooting against them and rooting for the vampire more just because he was ideally more mature, because he was older like centuries wise. But I just wish that there was more like depth to the characters, especially Jerusalem. And I hate the fact that from start to finish, they just really loved making war their personality. I felt like it was really distracting. I really wanted to know more about the characters so I could like them at a deeper level. I'm not sure if I gave ratings at any other point in the video, but if I did, sorry, I'm gonna just do it again. I feel like my overall ratings for all of the books would definitely be 5 stars for People to Follow, and then following that will be 4 stars for Secrets Never Die, 3 stars for Castle of the Curse, 2 stars for The Quiet Unraveling of Eve Ellaway, and sadly 1 star for The Dangerous Ones. I feel like this is the very first time in a video ever where I had a ranking that went down the line like that. I feel like I usually have at least 2 books that are rated the same. I guess there's a first time for everything, even if it's not good. I hope that you guys really enjoyed my 24-hour readathon. It took me a really long time to film this because I was trying to figure out how I wanted to film this going forward. I think I'm going to keep this type of vlogging style where once again I only vlog and read when I start the timer, and when I'm not reading I just pause it. I feel like that's just better for my sanity than trying to read for 24 hours straight like I know some people do on here. So this has been my second annual 24-hour reading challenge. I hope that you guys had as much fun watching this as I did filming it. So this has been Kiaras' Bookshelf. Bye!